Hi, I'm Doyle Schuler, and I'm a gold and silver investor, an author, publisher, and also the team leader of the world's only gold and silver wholesale buyers club. And I've just written a brand new book called The Definitive Guide to Storing Gold and Silver, and I'm tremendously excited about it. In the book, I start off with some free and cheap and simple and easy and quick storage options, and then I graduate all the way through up to the most sophisticated options of storing your gold and silver overseas. And that's what this video is about. I've taken the chapter from this book and turned it into a video. And I want to preface it with this disclaimer, is in doing the research for the book and for this chapter, there's lots of conflicting information out there on overseas storage. And it's not an easy black and white situation. Also, laws change, governments change, policies change, banks change. So at the time I'm making this video, this is the best information that I could find in research at this time. But be aware when you're watching this video, some of this information may have changed. And as always, it's best to consult a qualified tax attorney and overseas attorney to give you the best and most sound advice when making these important decisions for storing your metals overseas. So there's a couple of options for doing this. The two biggest options are whether you would choose to go with a bank storage facility or with a private storage facility. And if you go with the private storage facility, you get to keep your precious metals out of reach of the U.S. government and possibly out of reach of the host country's government. These private vaults don't qualify as financial institutions, and some experts suggest that you don't have to report them as foreign bank accounts when you file your taxes. But like I said, you should always check with a competent professional in this matter. Now, looking at the Swiss option, everybody has probably dreamed their whole life of having the Swiss bank account filled with gold and silver, safely and privately tucked away in underneath the Alps in Switzerland. And how cool would that be? And many people have done that, and many people continue to do that. However, over the last number of years, the United States Internal Revenue Service has really tightened up this loophole, and they now require reporting of undeclared profits of U.S. taxpayers from their Swiss bank account. And this change has resulted in compromising the privacy that this option used to offer in the past. And at this time, U.S. investors are also required to report holdings in excess of $10,000 in foreign financial institutions, and that's the key, financial institutions, to the U.S. Treasury on a report of foreign bank and financial accounts. So, important things to keep in mind. Since the Swiss banks are financial institutions, the contents of their safe deposit boxes are now reportable by U.S. customers. As a result of the pressure to disclose foreign customer information, particularly from the U.S. government, many Swiss banks are now making it more and more difficult for U.S. residents to open Swiss bank accounts. And, excuse me, generally a requisite to open a safety deposit box there is you have to open a bank account, and many of the banks are requiring six-figure minimums as an obstacle to doing this because they simply don't feel like dealing with all the U.S. governmental paperwork to get that done. So for American investors wishing to diversify their precious metals holdings overseas, this still could be a viable option, but just know it's not without issues of its own. Another option, and I think a much better option in Switzerland or in any other country, is storage in a non-bank vault or warehouse or specialist depositories or private vaults. Banks are basically in business to lend money, and they have lots of government regulations to abide by, and the regulations change frequently. Private storage depositories do not have near the amount of regulations that regular banks have. Their focus is on their customers and providing high levels of security, privacy, and customer service. A very important note. Please note, overseas options that are not, these are not for the small investors. It requires some serious research and serious due diligence. And there's many important details to discover and consider. And if you choose the wrong option here, your results could absolutely be devastating. There's literally been instances in the past where international storage facilities, even non-bank institution facilities, have been raided for suspected drug money laundering and other allegations of other illegal actions, and they've had all of their assets seized, including all of the contents of the safety deposit boxes. So and they've seized them for indeterminate periods of time. So dealing with situations like this from overseas, from another country, can be very expensive, time consuming, and not to mention extremely frustrating. So I'm sure that's the exception other than the rule, but it's something that you should be aware of. However, if a serious governmental or economic impact were to happen, either in the U.S. or in any country that you may happen to live in, the efforts that you have to go through to store at least some of your gold and silver offshore could prove to be one of the smartest decisions you've ever made, and could be very well worth the risk and the cost and the effort. In fact, I've got some friends right now that are dealing with these same issues, and they feel like people based in the United States, and they say it's a pain, it's expensive, it's complicated, but by golly, I've got to do it. I've got to diversify, because we just don't know what's going to happen next. And as always, it's wise to seek the best possible advice that you can from reliable people in this field. There's attorneys who specialize in this, and there's tax attorneys who specialize in this area, and you should seek them out. And lastly, none of us know how these different world situations and economic governmental turmoil, how things are going to work out in the future. And when your metals are thousands of miles away in another country, anything could happen, and you should be prepared for that. Here's my suggestion. In my book, I talk about diversity in diversifying your holdings as the most important part of your plan. So my opinion, if you plan to store metals overseas, I think you should, one, have a private stash, and that's gold and silver that you can get your hands on in a very short period of time, either hidden somewhere in your home or in your office or in your property where you can put your hands on, not necessarily a huge percentage of your holdings, but something. Then you could have a larger percentage of your holdings at perhaps a off-site vault storage facility somewhere in the U.S., or perhaps buried, or many other options, viable options. And then you could take yet another percentage and hold that offshore in overseas, in another way to diversify your holdings overseas. I think that would make a wise plan, and obviously not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you have the means, having your precious metals stored in secure locations around the world will give you the ultimate protection. Even in the worst imaginable global economic situation, it's highly unlikely that you would not be able to at least get to some of your metals at some time in certain countries. I have friends who've traveled all around the world, and they've found dozens of obscure and secret storage facilities in countries all over the world, and they have large amounts of gold and silver bullion, as well as really valuable numismatic coins hidden in various secret locations all around the world. And not only did they create a brilliant network of global storage diversification where they can go pretty much anywhere in the world and get to some of their holdings, but they had a great time. They combined their vacations with exploring and finding these perfectly suited vault storage sites, and just made it, instead of making it something that's boring and drudgery, they turned it into like a fun game and made a vacation out of it. So it's all pretty much all in how you look at it. You can make it something that is fun and a very smart thing for you to do as well. So I realize this is a very basic kind of foundational amount of information for off-site overshore holdings, but I hope you found it helpful. And what I've done is I've created a website that you'll see here at the bottom of the page, buysilveratcost.com/videos, and I've included a number of other videos on this website totally for free. They're based on some of the chapters in the book. I haven't done them on all of the chapters. You have to get the book to check out all the chapters, but you'll find some of them there, and I think you'll find some of them very helpful. Also, if you'd like to hop over to Amazon and pick up the book, I think that would be a wise thing. The link for my book is at the bottom of the video, and below the video there is a hyperlink that will take you right to the book on Amazon, or you could simply type in the name of the book on Amazon and be brought there right away. As you can tell, the price of the book is ridiculously inexpensive. Here is the important part. Storing gold and silver is very serious business. If you do it wisely, if you do it correctly, then it could be one of the best decisions of your entire life. You can rest and relax and sleep like a baby, knowing everything is taken care of in a well planned out, methodical method for storing your metals. On the other hand, if you just make one mistake, it can be totally devastating. Some people can lose everything they have in a flash, and it's so important. So here's the thing: if you just get one idea from this book, just one good idea, and I think you'll get a lot of them, it can make a huge difference in your gold and silver storage options. So lastly, and in closing, down below the video you'll see some words that look similar to this, not exactly but similar, and there's some options there. So if you'd like to hop over to Amazon and pick up the book, that red arrow on the left pointing to the link, you can click that link below the video and it'll take you to Amazon. You can pick up the book. If you'd like to find out more information about the book and about gold and silver investing in general, you can click the link that the red arrow on the right is pointing to, and that will take you to my personal blog site that is jam-packed with lots and lots of great information on gold and silver investing. And then lastly, the website address at the bottom is the website to go and check out other videos. So I hope you found this video helpful and it's brought you some good information to help you in making some wise decisions. I want to thank you so much for your time for watching it. Again, this is Doyle Schuler, and I wish you the very best success in your gold and silver investing. Thank you very much.